The kind of news I do is terribly serious. For me to go back to that after I've paraded myself on the television in a sparkly top, I don't think it would quite work. But I am not saying no forever. Former ITN political reporter John Sargent certainly entertained with his partner, Russian dancer Kristina Ryanov, on Strictly in 2010 before he quit voluntarily in week 10. Clive laughs when he says, "I have been known to throw a few shapes on the dance floor." And in a nod to John's now legendary paso doble with Kristina, he adds, "But I don't know what my paso doble would be like. I've no idea, and I'm not saying no forever at all. But I think at the moment, it might seem a bit odd. It's not the right time, but it would be fun. It's an amazing show and millions love it." He says that Catherine, his wife of 3 decades, is a big Strictly fan. "She loves it, I catch it from time to time. In this year's series I'm sure Ellie Simmons will be great, she's an amazing woman." Looking unflappable and relaxed in his airy North London home on one of the hottest days of the year, Clive has been showing his artistic side at his year's BBC proms at London's Royal Albert Hall. A passionate music lover, he presented his first jazz prom, the UK saxophonist Nabaya Garcia, last year. He says, "Many people who know me know I love jazz and had made a series for Jazz FM. Then I was asked to present the Simon Rattle Stravinsky prom when someone dropped out last minute. Stravinsky is a composer I adore and it went well and I loved it. So I think the BBC realised there may be a bit more to this fella when it comes to music. So they asked me to present 4 proms this year and I'm loving the experience." On September 2 he presents the Chineke Orchestra, Europe's first majority black and ethnically diverse orchestra, who are returning to perform Beethoven's Ninth Symphony after electrifying audiences last year. He enthuses, "What's brilliant about Chineke is that it's given a profile to young black musicians. To be able to perform that symphony is pretty damn good. The programs in the past 2 years have been so diverse. It's about making the point that classical music has been held up as this elitist pastime that only the well-to-do can access. But that wasn't the case 100 years ago. Most Hart's operas were raucous and everyone went. Even throwing cabbages on stage if they didn't like it. It was a mass cultural event." He looks animated talking about how joyful the concerts have been this year after the nightmare of the pandemic. He says, "It's been the proms back to something like it was, a shared experience of fun and excitement which COVID cruelly took away from us. It's been wonderful." Clive has also been working on a BBC documentary on the Ukraine Freedom Orchestra, who play the proms, which is out early next month. He has a rich life outside his work and feels it is important to retain that balance. A passionate Manchester City fan, he jokes, pointing to his sweater, "I am wearing their light blue colours today." He also enjoys attending concerts, opera, theatre and travelling. "Catherine and I are going to the Verona Opera Festival in northern Italy," he says. The presenter's profile started to rise when he appeared on shows like Richard Osman's House of Games and Have I Got News for You? He said he loves the comedy news show and is looking forward to another stint as host next month. Then came his powerful, award-winning films from inside the Royal London Hospital during the pandemic, revealing the pressure NHS staff were under. but it was the BBC's coverage of the Russian invasion of Ukraine earlier this year that made the public acutely aware of his authoritative presence. He feels the Ukraine war resonated with millions of viewers. It touched people in a way that I don't think any other story has in my 30 years working for the BBC. It's a testament to the folk on the ground covering it. He was the first anchor to be drafted into Ukraine and fearlessly presented the news from the rooftop in Kyiv, even as the Russians were advancing on the Ukrainian capital, and appeared to have a tear coursing its way down his cheek. Was it a genuine tear? He hesitates. I am asked this a lot. A bit of cold. It was windy up there, no question, and it had been an emotional day. I am not afraid to show emotion as long as it doesn't overwhelm the story, because if people aren't engaging with the story, what's the point? He even kept calmly reporting during a bombardment when his base was shaken by nearby missile fire. When I express how scared I was for him, he exclaims, "You and my mum." A few people were concerned, and it was nice people were showing that concern. There were moments when it was a little bit risky, he adds with understatement. You take all the precautions, in the sense that you're not doing anything stupid, and you've been on the hostile environments courses over the years. I've covered wars in the past and I have a rough idea of the lie of the land with these things. But of course, you are always going to be cautious and a little bit trepidatious, a little bit scared, because you never know what could happen. You're not going into these situations blind, you are aware of the dangers and all the problems, and you mitigate and try and prepare for any eventuality as much as you can. Despite his Twitter feed being flooded with messages from TV viewers anxious about his safety, he kept his dry sense of humor, even joking in one tweet about his poor sleep due to another occupant snoring next to him in his bunker. He reflects, "You don't get much sleep with the air sirens going off." Unaware of suffering from PTSD so far, he muses, "I am not aware of where I am reliving a traumatic event. I haven't had that in any significant way so far. I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing my life and being able to shut off. Sometimes it's difficult, it depends what you've seen, what you've experienced in the field. Sometimes there are memories and there are images that will stay with you. But I'm quite good at being able to decide, now I'm focusing on the proms, now I'm focusing on mastermind, or now I'm focusing on sport or something else. Frankly, it would be difficult to live the life that I do if I wasn't able to do that." In April, he conducted a lengthy interview with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. He said it showed the devastating impact the Russian invasion has had on the leader as he crumpled while discussing the war. You could see the physical and emotional toll that dealing with all that has had on him. He was on the first list of top UK-based journalists to be banned by Russian President Vladimir Putin after what he described as a testy interview with the Russian ambassador to the UK Andrei Kelin. The sanctions were in response to UK measures on Russian public figures. How did he feel? Some people have described it as a badge of honor, but when I heard, I was disappointed. I'd love to be able to get across what ordinary Russians are thinking about this war and the Kremlin. I want to tell a story comprehensively and from all sides. He said he hopes to go back to Kyiv next year. He says he will insist, to mark the one-year anniversary of the invasion. I am absolutely clearing my diary. Funnily enough, I spoke to my mum last night and she said, "You are not going back, are you?" I said, "Of course I am." It's the job and I enjoy the job." She knew I would say that. "So I am going back, but I ain't going to Russia anytime soon. I'm persona non grata." Clive is no stranger to war zones. He was embedded with the Royal Marines during the 2003 invasion of Iraq and has covered many other conflicts since he joined the BBC graduate training scheme in 1987. He believes that the war is still very firmly on the BBC's radar, despite Britain's domestic problems. "The Ukraine situation is huge. It has geopolitical connotations, it affects us all in lots of ways if through no other reason, the rise in energy prices and inflation. There are other things going on in people's lives too. We don't have a prime minister, we are in state of flux, people are hurting, and the BBC News coverage at 6 and 10 is looking at those other issues, but it is continuing to report on Ukraine." He confesses that the first thing he did when he came back from Ukraine was to dine out. "My first trip just after the Russians invaded, food became a little bit scarce, and we weren't sure what was going to happen. So when I got back, I went for a lovely restaurant meal and was able to fully relax for the first time in a while, because you were just hyper the whole time. Catherine was happy to have me back." He fronted his first series of Mastermind last year and has already recorded the heats for the second series in Belfast, which starts broadcasting next month. He is grateful that the reaction has been positive, people have been very kind. "Now I think I am able to enjoy it." He adds with honesty, "I was bricking it. I'm a very different personality to John Humphreys and he's been doing it for 18 years. He must have been doing something right." The history of the show, to a degree, slightly lifted off my shoulders having got through one series. It is a jewel in the broadcasting crown that you can't mess around with. I hope we have managed to keep it relevant for those who have watched it for year after year, while trying to bring in new audiences as well. That's the key to any long-standing staple. There are some amazing contestants this year. These people are a revelation to me. I am full of admiration for them submitting themselves to the rigors of the black chair. I try to encourage them to perform at their best. Clive Myrie is a presenter for BBC Proms 2022, which run until September 10, on BBC TV, BBC Radio 3, BBC Sounds and BBC iPlayer. The Chineke Prom is on September 2nd. Ukraine's musical Freedom Fighters with Clive Myrie is on BBC Two on September 9th and iPlayer.